What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you can't tell, we got some snow here in North Carolina, which is not too common, so I'm kind of stuck at home today. So I know I haven't posted anything on YouTube in a long time. There's a couple reasons for that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to just walk around the shop and give you a quick update of what I've been doing. Just kind of been tinkering, no major projects, so we'll take a quick walk around and then we'll talk a little bit more about the channel. I'm also using my Sony Handycam today, so hopefully this picture turns out good. It's the first time I've used it in a long time. I usually use it at the racetrack, but we're going to try it in the shop today. So here we have the Packard. A lot of people have been asking about it, and really the only thing that I've done recently is I took the carburetor back apart because I was having issues with it going lean on tip-in. So I took it back apart and found that one of the nozzles for the accelerator pump wasn't squirting fuel down the throttle bore. So we fixed that, got it all tidied up, and it actually works a little bit better now. I was able to drive it down the street, and I did that because I wanted to make sure the transmission worked, and it seems to be working just like it should, so big thumbs up there. Last weekend I made these wheel cribs with a friend of mine, Kyle. He helped me do this, and basically you just stack a bunch of 2x4s on top of each other and screw them together, and it's kind of like a jack stand. But the reason I did this is I want all the weight on the suspension holding the wheel up. So when I put the car on jack stands, the front would still droop a little bit because I wasn't able to get the jack stand real close to the ball joint. So now we've got it sitting at ride height up in the air so that I can get under it and work. So for those of you who haven't seen the wheels on this thing, I did put 20s on it. They're 20 by 8 in the front and 20 by 11 in the rear. So they actually fit. The only trimming I had to do was right up here in the quarter lip, and they were rubbing a little bit on this side. So this car's rear leaf spring, but it actually has a panhard bar or a track bar under it. So I took that and I shortened it, trying to move the rear end towards the driver's side because I had a lot more room over there, and it didn't seem to work. The leaf springs are fighting against it. So when I drove up the road, it rubbed a little bit. So brought it in here, got it up on these cribs, did a little bit of cutting. The other thing that I did was I got the seats in, and of course driving it down the road I wanted to have seats, and I moved the seat back about 8 inches from where it would be factory, and I actually fit in it now. So I've got the front seat in, the rear seat's in. I just have to make brackets for the bottom of it to hold it. When I did the new floorboards, it didn't come with the brackets to hold the rear seat, so I've got to fabricate something for that. And that might be on the list of to-dos today. So you can see, even though I moved the front seat back, I still have plenty of room for rear seat passengers. There is no other trim in here, no headliner, no pillar trim, no door panels, except for what was left when I bought the car. So the next step for the Packard is going to be to drive it further down the road to make sure that I don't have any issues with it before I tear it all apart again. For those of you who follow the channel, I'm going to be bagging it, so I want to be sure that it is roadworthy before I do that. One of the other issues I'm having is its drum brakes all the way around. This drum grabs before that drum, so when you hit the brakes hard, it pulls to the right. So I'm going to take the front wheels off, readjust the shoes in there, and hopefully that'll take care of it. Another small addition I did, which I really didn't want to do because I wanted the car to look factory, is I added some gauges down here. And the reason for that is the factory dash just has dummy lights, so they don't work either. When I rewired the car, I tested everything, and it appeared that they were going to work, but they don't. And it may have something to do with the dash used to run off 6 volts, so I put a bunch of voltage reducers in there to try to get it to work right, and I still don't have any luck. So we have oil pressure, water temperature, and voltage down here. I tried to keep them low and out of the way just so when you look in the window you don't see them. But the car does have good oil pressure, and it does not overheat. So once the weather clears up, I do want to take it down the road a little bit further, at least put a couple miles on it and make sure that everything's going to behave the way that it should. And then we're going to start ordering stuff to do all the suspension, which should be kind of fun. I've never bagged anything before, so this will be my first time. Excited about it. Next thing sitting in the shop's the Cadillac, and this is supposed to be my daily driver, but the heat doesn't work very well, and neither does the AC, so I kind of only drive it on nice days. It's been a little bit of a pain too. I've had to put a new water pump on it, and the AC compressor clutch also went bad, so I've fixed both those things. I've just got it sitting in here on a battery tender. It usually sits outside, and it got a little bit of moisture inside too, So my buddy Eric brought me a little rid thingy that's supposed to suck all the moisture out of the air. So it's sitting in there trying to get all the moisture out of the inside of the car. Nothing's wet, but it would fog the windows real bad when the humidity would change outside. So I did wax it, and it actually turned out pretty nice. So it's just sitting in here kind of hanging out. So the Buick actually got driven about a month ago. I don't drive it too often, but we went out to a Cars and Coffee, and I drove it around a little bit. I did do some updates to that. I put a different shifter in it, and I also put a different steering wheel in it. And when I get that back in the shop, I'll be sure to update you guys on that. The car also got a new headliner. When I went to Cars and Coffee, going down the highway with the windows down, the headliner started to flop, and it totally separated itself from the cardboard backing. So I pulled the headliner out, had it recovered. It's back in the car. The goal was to try to complete the interior. So I want to make a center console for it so that all that stuff kind of comes together, and then the interior of the car will be complete again. After that, really what I want to do is get a different rear end under it, and then I'm going to call it quits on that one for at least a little while until I decide to make another upgrade. I'd like to do a 4L80 one day, but the rear end's got to come first because that car still has the stock 7.5 in it. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the channel and why you haven't seen me posting anything. I'll give you the quick rundown. So I built the Trailblazer. It's been gone for about a year now. And when I built the Trailblazer, I tried to film every part of that process, from building the engine and doing the 4L80 swap, getting it running, building the exhaust, all that good stuff. And the videos didn't do as well as I had hoped. Now, I know I can't expect a ton. My channel isn't the biggest ever, but I put a lot of effort and time into doing that without much result. I do enjoy doing YouTube, but I thought it was time for me to take a little bit of a break and kind of come out here and tinker like I used to. Not have to pick up a camera, not have to explain what I'm doing. And it's been kind of nice and relaxing for me to come in here, turn on the radio, which I can't do when I'm filming a YouTube video, and just kind of work. So I haven't done a whole lot. Watch this. There's a spider hanging in front of the camera. I haven't really done a whole lot. I've been kind of concentrating on work, concentrating on the stuff I'm doing up there, putting out some really cool builds, try to post those on Instagram. So if you guys can, follow me on Instagram. I'm definitely on there a lot more now than I am on YouTube. But when I start doing some bigger projects, like when I start bagging the Packard, I'm definitely going to do a film series on that. When I do the rear end swap in the Buick, I'm going to film that also. But the normal stuff that I've been doing, you know, maintenance on vehicles, doing the water pump on the Cadillac, stuff like that, I haven't been filming because, like I said, it's just kind of nice to come out here, blare some music, and get to work. So I'm going to try to get better about posting YouTube videos. I'm going to do more. I haven't posted a video in probably 4 months, so stay tuned if you can. Thank you guys that follow me, that loyally follow me. You've been commenting on Instagram, when are you going to post a video, when are you going to do an update, and here's your update. So I'm going to do better, I promise. Stay tuned, guys. I am going to do some bigger projects, so you want to check those out. The Packard really going to be my main focus for now. Having it up on the wheel cribs, I can really get under it and make sure that everything is working mechanically before I tear all the mechanical stuff apart again. Aside from that, I'm really stuck at home today. For those of you who live in the South, you know when it snows, everything shuts down. So I drove up the road earlier today just to kind of check out conditions, and the road is basically an inch packed ice. So when it snowed, the roads were still warm, so it froze overnight and then snows on top of it. Nothing's going to be open. Walmart might be, but that's going to be about it. So sticking around the house, I'm going to run inside and edit this video. Quick little update on what's going on around here. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for following, and we'll see you next time.